Good afternoon, and welcome to the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Performing Arts and Science Wing of the great Woodrow Wilson High School. I'm Kyle Richardson, and I'm privileged to be the principal of Woodrow Wilson High School. And on behalf of our students, staff, and faculty, we want to welcome you today. We're glad to have each and every one of you for this very special occasion. One of the great rewards of being principal here is that I get to see how students, with the right mix of great teaching and inspiration, just blossom in the 4 years that they're here. So I want to thank the dancers and choir members who have already performed for us today, and will also take part in the tour later after we dismiss. Like many of you, we've been watching and waiting and with great expectation for the completion of this wing. We've been through a couple of years of construction now, and this is a very exciting day, and we know that this is a new chapter in the Wildcat history. So I'm grateful for the wonderful faculty and staff, supportive parents, alumni, and our bright, eager students for helping us to make this school special. Everyone here today is a welcome and honored guest, and at this time I want to especially recognize our district leadership and some of our key supporters. From District 2, Mike Morath, and also we have Trustee Adam Madrano and Elizabeth Jones with us today. Kevin Smelker, our Chief of Operations, Executive Director for our area, Brian Lusk, Craig Reynolds, Brian Smith, Stephen Solka, who all played a big part in the construction of this project, Randy Patterson, our PTA President, and Susan Scherger, our site-based decision-making President. So let's thank them all for being here today. At this time, we want to open the program with the presentation of our colors, so if you would please rise. We want to thank our ROTC under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel Dumas this time. Thank you very much. And also the great Wildcat Band under the direction of Chris Evans. Please be seated. Leadership is one of the most important elements in any organization's success. In District 2, we're fortunate to have a leader like Trustee Mike Morath. He is a faithful supporter of all the schools in this community and can be counted on to fairly balance the interests of students, educators, and the community when seated at the board table. We thank him for joining us in today's celebration, and he'll be followed by Kevin Smelker, the district's Chief of Operation. That title covers a lot of territory and includes the oversight of the bond program. A newcomer to the district this year, he's a key player in Superintendent Miles' leadership team. We thank both of these individuals for joining us today. Please welcome Trustee Mike Morath.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here at the unveiling of the new wing at Woodrow Wilson High School. This wing is a labor of love that I'm sure Ed Levine and some of our construction folks can attest to much better than I. Offers a wealth of opportunities for students, especially in the areas of science education, to provide a great learning environment and in fact get a great future out of it. I want to thank all of our staff and supporters that are here today. I also want to point out a few of my colleagues on the board again, Trustee Jones and Medrano, as well as Trustee Mitch Kay serving with us, former Trustee Ron Price as well, City Councilman Sheffy Kindane, former City Councilman Gary Griffith is here today. One of the rather amusing things about being an elected official is they roll you out here to take credit for things that you had literally nothing to do with. But I would like to thank some of the trustees that actually did have something to do with this as part of our 2008 bond program, specifically Trustee Medrano and former Trustee Ron Price. I think without their leadership, we would not have this wing at Woodrow Wilson High School. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Smelker, Chief of Operations. I'm speaking here on behalf of Superintendent Mike Miles. I'd like to also thank you for all coming out on this Saturday. I know there's other things that you have going on, and for you to take the time to celebrate this landmark and important milestone of the life, or of this building and the life of the Woodrow Wilson Wildcats is very special. I'd also like to take this time to thank and recognize the student performers, all of them, from the junior ROTC, cadets, and the student performers and the band, and also the people that do the work behind the scenes are the teacher sponsors. Their gifts and talents that they share with us today are really special and make this celebration something to remember. I want to go a little bit, you know, I'm new to the district and we have a lot of buildings, and so I've been trying to visiting as many as possible. And in lieu of this, or in spite of this celebration, I want to get here before and get a flavor of the building. And so I picked a Friday afternoon at about 3:45 yesterday. I've been here a couple times, but I wanted to see what really went on a Friday afternoon. And let me share that with you. I arrived here about 3:45, entered the building, went into the office and signed in, and told them what I was here for. Just wanted to look around, look in the classroom, just see what the building. And I was promptly greeted by a student that said, "Hey, I can tour you around our building." And I said, "Well, that's great, let's go." And so as we entered the hallway, they were empty. This is at 3:45, remember, 3:45, Friday afternoon. And we're walking through the building, and the hallways are empty, the classrooms are full, and as I peeked in some of the classrooms, the first hallway we went down was the wing where the performing arts were. There was planning and preparation and practicing going on for upcoming events. I peeked my head into a few of the classrooms on the second and third floor. There was engaging instruction going on by every classroom that I stuck my head into. The students were intent on their learning. And as I got to the third floor, I looked out over the football field, and there was high competitive athletics going on in the field, and I heard, as I started to descend to the first floor, I went to the gym, and I saw a really athletic, organized competition going on in the gym. Again, 3:45, Friday afternoon, right before the weekend. So with that, I really commend Kyle Richardson and the staff of Woodrow for their dedication and their continuing a long and proud tradition of excellence, and recognize their achievements in both academics and athletics and the performing arts. And so in conclusion, not in conclusion yet, I'd really like to take this opportunity to thank the parents and the community and the staff. This takes a team effort to pull this off, and particularly in passing of the bond, your continued support of the district, and your continued support of Woodrow Wilson Wildcats. So now, in conclusion, I know that the community and the district looks forward to and expects many more distinguished alumni who will tell the world they got their start here at Woodrow Wilson High School.
I want to thank Trustee Morath and Mr. Smelker for coming out today and sharing in this celebration with us. And I also want to thank Ruth Vail, former Wildcat and former Woodrow principal, for being here today, because Ruth had a lot of input into the design and work on this building. So thank you, Ruth. And I also want to thank somebody else that's very special to this, because, you know, as a principal, there's some tough times, and schools require a lot of support. It's not about one person or any small group of people. It's about everybody pitching in together, and a lot of our support comes from our community and from our parents. And one parent in particular has been just totally instrumental in making this dream become a reality. And of course, I'm speaking of Craig Reynolds. And Craig he envisioned a great addition to our school and did a magnificent job. And I would say that it had to be an outstanding addition to be befitting of this institution. And so at this time, I would like to thank Craig Reynolds and invite him to make his remarks as well.
Thank you, Principal Richardson. By 1996, I had lived in the Woodrow area for 15 years. Our oldest child at that time was a 3-foot, 2-inch first grader at Lakewood Elementary. Then Trustee Roxanne's staff assigned me to represent District 2 on a 6-month-long task force plan for capital improvements desperately needed in all schools to address significant overcrowding, most inundated with deplorable conditions. 17 years later, our district has made progress in repairing and improving 230-plus facilities and constructing others that over 160,000 Dallas school children spend 9 months of the year or more to learn in. Therefore, it is not surprising to any of us that are involved in our public schools that we as a community have made not only many outstanding strides in enhancing our students' education opportunities, but recognize there is a long road ahead. Although my children spent their years at Lakewood, Long, and Woodrow in seemingly unending bond program construction, they did manage to survive. I became convinced over those years, as long as we as the community constituents desire to improve our schools, change and construction are inevitable. They come hand in hand. 3 years ago, I was asked to take on this improvement project as the architect. The building by then had consumed, over my previous 6 years, countless hours of preparation, frustration, and transportation for cheerleading, musicals, variations, science projects, EVIT projects, and visits to the counselor's office. This would be a project of my community. The 2002 bond program had brought a new addition to Long and some improvements to the Woodrow campus. This work and the community, I was warned, had systematically dismantled the architecture and construction firms involved in those projects. Cringing, I would hope for better. In the fall of 2010, we began meetings with the representative building committee on campus to review a checklist of improvements that had been proposed for the school. The Committee of District Bond Office Personnel, Ed Levine and Larry Zerby, Program Manager Brian Smith, Principal Ruth Vale, IB guru Kathy Scherler, Vice President Bernard Henderson, numerous and varying insights and opinions from other members of the faculty and staff, SBDM Representative Troy Harper, along with members of my own staff, Lisa Lampkin, Stephen Hilt, and Chris Sano, began the planning process. Our own SBDM member, Norm Alston, provided consultation on many issues to assist in the preserving of the historical character of the school. We planned and strategized not only the addition and improvements you will tour and see today, but envisioned the further enhancements and future expansions needed for the enrollment growth and continuing curriculum evolution for Woodrow. The failing air conditioning systems, the perennial flooding, the deplorable restrooms, poor indoor air quality, the unmaintained appearance of the windows, doors, and fixtures, the dependence on energy usage, the crowding of classrooms, the sea of portables, the previously band-aided and destructive repairs, the deteriorating historical fabric of the campus all needed to be addressed. It was not easy. Discussions were not always pleasant. Decisions and priorities were made with utmost care, deliberation, and often agonizing recognition, knowing we could not accomplish all that was needed, but knowing that what would be accomplished would significantly impact those students that would have the good fortune to grace the halls in the coming years. I commend the perseverance of those mentioned, our engineering collaborators, Pacheco Koch, Basharka Engineers, and Jasper Quintanilla, and those since that have provided construction services, Phillips May Construction, to fulfill the objectives of our charge. A school is more than a building. When parents are encouraged to participate in education activities of their children and are drawn to the educational facility, then and only then can the building be transformed into a school. The community is then assuming the role of a stakeholder and takes ownership in the school and the product of its educational processes. When a parent becomes a stakeholder, magically the child will grasp a greater understanding of the importance of education. Yes, a school is still a building designed for a function, to house the opportunity for students to learn in, but all schools are not the same. What if, with the charge given to the architect that they are to design a school that does not just meet the square footage criteria and X number of classrooms, so many lockers, and adequate parking, but also took on the mission to generate an excitement in students about learning? Our charge was more than a checklist. It was to sustain a vision and create a passion for success. We as the architects must therefore plan and design schools that not only provide spaces to conduct learning, but must inspire faculty in their teaching and inspire students about their education. How natural daylight, artificial light can be used, the acoustics of a space, the comfort, the manner in which a space engages its inhabitants, the confidence or soothing nature that a space can exude, the stories that stream from the historical context are all critical components to consider. When you walk into a building, this auditorium, the entry hallway, the new choir and recital room, the drama spaces, the dance studio, the science classrooms, and even the new core classrooms, you feel something intrinsic about the space that is special. Can't necessarily put your finger on it, on what that may be, but a space that you can connect with, a space that I can now learn in, a space that I now have the tools to teach with, or now I have the opportunity to perform my best. Neurological sciences studies have proven the design of the space, the quality of the environment, the colors, the light, the textures, the air, the views will dramatically improve any student's ability to learn if designed properly. We are done warehousing children inside buildings at Dallas ISD. For the past decade, our district has been transforming school campuses into environments for inspired learning. We have been fortunate to have an impact on the Woodrow and Long campuses in a way to begin understanding the possibilities of how all of our children can be engaged each hour in enhanced classrooms of higher learning, involvement, and activities. But there are thousands of classrooms yet to be transformed. It is time to move on. Through the recommendations sculpted from the dreams and visions of our diverse community, we delivered environments our children deserve and need to enhance their learning. Our great Woodrow will be honored with an award by Preservation Dallas in the coming months due to the involvement of its community members. In another few weeks, that 3'2" first grader will receive a diploma in history with sociology minor from Texas A&M University, graduating summa cum laude. We, alumni, faculty, parents, and community in this great Woodrow building will have each been a part of our students' challenges and successes. Thank you.
And at this time, I would like to present another great Woodrow supporter and somebody who has been of great help to me and our school all year, and that is our PTA president, Mr. Patterson.
I want to thank, I am Randy Patterson, the current PTA president. I want to thank Mr. Richardson, and I can honestly say I've really enjoyed working with him. I'm sorry I didn't get to work with Ms. Vale, the previous principal, but I'm here for the first time this year. Just a little bit of house cleaning before we move on. We are really done with the ceremony for the most part. After the ceremony, you'll be invited to go upstairs. Our third floor has a new cafeteria. Well, let me say it's been remodeled cafeteria for you to look at. There will be light refreshments up there for a reception. The new wing, if you go out these doors and to the left and keep going to your left, you go to the new wing, you're invited to tour, walk through the original historical building as well. The rooms will be open in the new wing. There will be some performances from some of the performing arts groups, from Anything Goes, the musical that's in April, to our one-act play. We'll have some performances shortly after this. Choir will be doing some performances. Our dance will have some performances. If you see activities going on in the rooms, please come inside and participate. There are students, you can ask questions about what's going on. If you are someone who desires an elevator to get to the third floor, to our right, if you make a right and then another right, is the only working elevator that you can use to go upstairs. At this time, I would like to call those participants who've been asked to participate in the ribbon-cutting ceremony to please come forward, including all of the current DISD board trustees. Would you also come forward as well? Thank you.